Good day, ladies and gents. How's everybody doing? You doing good? I don't know how anybody can not be doing good. If you're holding assets on PulseChain, except it'd be doing gooder if I could get into this space. Oh, we're live. Yeah. Good day.
What's up, Banana? How are you?
I'm doing good. Zen, how are you doing?
Good.
Super.
Throwing this link in the chat real quick.
I already dropped it in, both links into the Telegram.
Oh, cool. Never mind.
But it's always worth checking, though.
Well, I just threw it in again, I guess. They got a most recent one, though.
Yeah, cool. Exciting day, man.
It was nice to see some green.
Yeah. Just people are piling into the YouTube chat. Appreciate you guys jumping in. Like this video and subscribe to my channel. We're going to start leveraging this thing to get some more eyeballs on PulseChain and the grays in particular.
Yeah. When was the last one you did? Friday? Or no, Saturday morning. Saturday morning was the last one of the PulseChain onboarding videos. And then you also did your pTGC walkthrough yesterday.
Yes.
How'd that go?
Actually, it went really well. We stayed on task. Crypto 7 visited us yesterday for at length. So I just got right on topic and ran right through the grays. I think it went well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Consistency is key.
That absolutely. It's that. I mean, it's kind of like pTGC. You hold pTGC and, come back and check your gains in 24 hours. And it's like, okay, that's nice. That's kind of like the streamer that shows how to go walk through the Grays ecosystem one time. It's like, well, that's nice. Can you do that again? Do that again regularly, would you please? That's kind of how I look at it. And we had two people. One person didn't hold any and had some questions, and another gentleman had questions about LPing UFO. And if the stream helps two people, like we do this twice a week, and if it helps two people a week, that's 4 people that get helped. Well, in a month, that's 28. And in 6 months, whatever, 28 times 6, it just adds up. Actually, it adds up, but it's also going to multiply because those people are going to go tell their friends.
Yeah, that's what I was about to just say. The cool thing about educating people is then they have the knowledge and then they can go and educate others. Catch someone to fish or teach them to fish.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's fun.
Yeah, I think the consistency, just doing that over and over again is sometimes one of the most difficult things, right? In real life too. You have a goal and showing up for that goal over and over and over and over again. Sometimes the first month is quite easy because it's new and it's something new to do, but it's the month after month after month, and that's where you get good at something, right? And that's where the real reward comes, is when you keep showing up for not weeks, not months, but then you keep showing up for years. This is with any trail hobby. Is the first week, 2 weeks are the easiest to show up for because it's a fresh idea, something fresh. But pushing through and being consistent about a single thing or a couple things for a long period of time is where real growth is made.
Yeah. I look at it like when you're doing something repeatedly, you have neurons in your brain. Your brain is made of neurons. And when you're developing a habit, it's those. I heard it in a book one time. They term it as the neurons. You're etching the neurons in your brain to actually And what happens is it becomes that activity, whatever you're doing regularly, becomes easier to do. You know, it's difficult the first time because your neurons aren't developed to it yet. But especially after repeated use, it just becomes easier. And then if you miss it, it bothers you.
Yeah, you're like addicted to it.
Yeah, it's just, and it's the same thing with anything. It's the same way with anything, any activity. You know, especially difficult things. Oh man, if you're doing something difficult, the best thing to do is just gut your way through it as many times as you can, and before you know it, it will be a habit.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's kind of what we're doing. Showing up, you're showing up to your things. I'm trying to show up to my things, getting through the hard parts of it. And when we get to the green, get people flowing into the blockchain from not only our resources, but from other resources as well. Like, you know, Richard's marketing, which I'm sure we're going to talk about a good chunk on this spaces today. But when those new users start flowing in, we're going to be here ready to educate them on pTGC, UFO, and then also PulseChain, Richard's products as well.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to be ready. We are. I pivoted this morning, man. When I saw that marketing piece on Twitter yesterday, and I don't know if I was already thinking this. I may have been, but I was like, I got to do some YouTube shorts because that attracts people versus long form videos like these and my presentations and that. I can attract people different ways, like with short form, like less than a minute videos, attract them to my YouTube. And so anyhow, it was a confluence at least of my idea, and I saw it on Twitter. I was like, oh, I am totally recording a short tomorrow morning. I'm going to figure it out. And it was hard. It was hard at first, but actually the process is easier than I anticipated. And guess what? I can use those shorts. Like once I created it, I was like, oh, I'm going to upload this to X. It has almost 7,000 impressions right now. Very successful post. And then this afternoon, I was on my way home and realized I should upload it to TikTok. So I'm endeavoring to do that tomorrow.
Yeah, if you're spending the time building it, you might as well put it on every social media platform that you can.
Yeah, may as well. And I think it's going to work. And
I think you did pretty good on that. I didn't realize that was like your first one. You had Richard's face pop up and stuff like that. That's pretty good for your first.
Yeah. Well, I've got this video editing software that this 50-plus-year-old man has learned how to use in the last year or so. And that I hadn't even logged in several months. But the skills that I got from, again, doing the hard work lent itself to putting that together yesterday or this morning. And it was actually rather easy and enjoyable. You know, I don't get to do a lot of creative work, but, you know, making a video like that was creative work, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think that's a good video. You could, what I was trying to tell you, but I realized my voice to chat was kind of all messed up, is when people put up those, you know, like, I forget the girl's name, but like that girl put up yesterday, you could throw your video underneath along with your YouTube and such, and a nice little message, you know, because a lot of times I think people will hit us with some negative things, scam this or that, and instant like reaction I think is to kind of fight back and be like, no, it's not a scam, and start like,
sure,
you know, being aggressive about it. But I think you know, by being overly nice about it, kind of kill them with a little bit of kindness and just be like, hey, you know, this is my personal opinion on it, and I actually run on this. I actually have a live chat about this, helping people understand why we are so passionate about this protocol. If you want to join sometimes, I'd be willing to, you know, have a conversation. And that's just a nice response to them. But more importantly, also like all the other people who see the posts and hop into the comments, even if that person has a negative, one might run across it and be like, you know what, like I disagree with this person. I don't think this is a scam. I think this is a huge sign of a big marketing push by a blockchain. And a lot of people see when companies or when blockchains are doing, not blockchains usually, but that's a good sign that their stock or their amount of sales or services are going to increase, right? So a lot of people will jump on board just seeing that they're early on a massive marketing push and they can capitalize off it, even if they don't even care about the cryptocurrency whatsoever or care about Richard. There's also the ability of finding out about a huge marketing push early. And, those people that stumble across, that's where I think there's going to be a lot of value is there's going to be a large percentage of people who maybe aren't even into crypto, maybe aren't even, sorry, call. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. They might not be
You're breaking up a little bit.
Crypto at all.
Got another call.
No, I didn't get another call. Can you guys hear me or no?
You're breaking up a little bit, but we can mostly hear you.
I can hear you fine. I think you're good now.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just saying that there's going to be a large amount of people, because even in other assets or other businesses or whatever you want to call it besides crypto, people see value in massive marketing pushes. A lot of people will buy stocks and stuff, or hold shares of a company if they know that a huge massive marketing push is about to happen, and specifically get involved just for that reason. And maybe they actually fall in love or like the products after they end up there. I saw someone on Reddit yesterday who was responding to someone saying, hey, this looks like a scam. What do you guys think? And the person specifically said, no, that's not a scam. It's just like a drawing with my tab some and they love it. It looks like that blockchain is just doing a marketing campaign. And he said, I actually know of Hex and I know of PulseChain just because I'm in crypto. I don't know a lot about the ecosystem though. I just recognize it. And they said, just because you got this and posted it, it actually pushed me to research it. And he said, it looks like it's a very undervalued product right now. There is some stuff on YouTube where users are happy and some stuff where users are mad, and polarizing. Some people like Richard, some people don't, but it's worth looking into. So that was just a random guy responding to the Reddit, but had great feedback and a great outsider look at it.
Wow. One of the things I'm going to try to impress on people at this stage of the game is that if you're getting these are the first people getting the mailers. This mailing campaign may take, I don't know, 3 to 6 months. I don't know, but I think it's not going to go all out at the same time. Okay. I think that's pretty clear just for the sheer enormity of the whole thing. But the people getting in now have the greatest opportunity right in front of them. And I'm going to try to impress that on some people. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, but my phone keeps saying I keep losing connection, so I stepped outside.
Okay.
Hopefully it's better now.
Expedition says,
I think you're the nice birds in the background.
Oh, I love the birds. I love birds. Expedition says the weekly MACD on UFO is about to explode. I like the sound of that. We're always talking about UFO exploding. That's going to happen at some point, man. It's going to surprise, and then it's going to surprise everybody. And we're going to be like, why didn't I? We're going to have the why didn't I, the shouldas and the couldas going on after UFO goes. So, well, who wants to come up and talk? We got to Zen and I, and probably Mando too, need to save some save some juice. You know how when you crack open a pop and the fizz goes away? We don't want to fizzle out. So if somebody wants to come up and chat.
Hey man, I've literally been on the beach for the last 12 days.
Well,
You know,
congratulations.
smoking cigars and enjoying life, man. The only thing I showed up for was the spaces for pTGC.
Oh, so I heard. So I heard.
That, I'm charged.
Nice.
Sometimes it's just better to just walk away, man. Just go enjoy yourself, man. So
yeah, I got to. Life's too short to be all about crypto. Wait, then what am I doing? It's all good. Our time's coming. We'll be on the beach with you, Mando. We're gonna own part of the beach.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm loving what's happening. I'm loving everything I'm seeing. I'm loving Richard Hart. I'm loving everything that he's tweeting, everything that he's posting. I'm loving seeing people hating the marketing.
Yes.
I'm loving seeing people saying it's a scam. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
Literally perfect. You can see people are talking about PulseChain and Hex. People are starting to see it, right? It's all part of the plan.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me the negative Nellies in our own community. Like, oh, this is, man, guys, it's just so stupid.
Well, they're going to be in every community. Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. You just think that, you know, some of these people they just don't either know marketing or how stuff works or psychology, or they just don't know Richard. I don't know what it is. But you want to know what? I don't see any other blockchains doing anything.
Right.
Let alone something.
Let alone direct mail.
To bring in new users to their chain or to their. I don't see any giving away free products.
Yeah, it ain't happening. No.
It's a scam. It's a scam.
You see, Richard Hart stepped out of the digital realm. Like all of the marketing for crypto, as far as I'm aware, let me just say like 99% of it probably happens online. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the platforms, you know. Well, Richard Hart forsook that for a little bit. He didn't forsake it, but he added direct mail, which is physical, tangible, has to be delivered by a mail person to a mailbox, you know, and somebody has to actually tear it open and pull out the device. That's so contrary to, you know, the standard crypto way of marketing where it's all digital. How many clicks can I get? You know, how come I didn't get 1,000 impressions on this post or whatever? It's so different. I love it, man.
Well, here's the thing, right? Immediately within the first 4 days, you already have activity. You already have people talking. You already have posts. You have people sharing. You have people tweeting. You have people on Reddit. You have people, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Some will, some won't. So what? Next. But you're talking about the first week. It's already happening. And this sucker's going into 2026.
Yeah. I feel like we turned a corner yesterday. That with that one lady's post. And I know it wasn't all about her post, but it had something to do with that post. And
so, guys, is Hex up? What is Hex up right now on the 24-hour? I haven't looked.
It is up 15%.
It's up 15%. What is it up on the week? Do you know?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the 24-hour, 14.6%. I don't have a weekly in front of me, but I can pull it. Let me get the daily. And I will tell you, it's up. How is it up the same? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just do the weekly. From the bottom of last week to today, 15%, because it dropped clearly. It dropped 15% last week. It must have.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a wash, but it's above. Right now, it's above where it started last week.
Yeah, pTGC, 120 million. Beautiful. Up almost 13.11%.
and the volume's 136,000 on pTGC. UFO is 64,000, and we're not running. The grays are not running right now, but we have some decent volume.
That's beautiful. I just noticed too, Dow's sitting on over 6 billion PulseChain. You gotta love seeing that.
Yep.
I love seeing that.
So I just wanted to jump in real quick because I'd rather listen to you guys talk than me take up too much time. But I'm not a coin creator. That's what you guys do, and you're amazing at it. My buddy Tiger got me involved, and you know, I've bought into what you guys are doing. But what I have done is I've created the South Park of crypto, which is basically called the Hexagons. And I was wondering if I could include you guys in the next episode.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you're talking about? Give us a little bit of context.
Sure. The first episode was actually posted yesterday. It's got 4,000 impressions since it was posted. But basically, it's just a funny twist on the community. It's you know, meant to make people laugh, and it's meant for the average person to like laugh and wonder what's going on and come looking for us. Because at the beginning of the episode, it basically says, "Hey, this isn't a show for anything, but hey, we're if you ever wonder what PulseChain or the Hexagons are, we're out there. Come find us. We're waiting for you." And then
Tiger checking in here, backing this 110%.
Okay, yeah,
supporting it.
there he is. But anyways, I think highly of you guys. It is a funny twist on things. So you know, get a chance, look at it. You don't have to make a decision tonight or anything like that. But you know, like I said, me and Tiger both have thought highly of you guys. You're very good on educating people, and just like I did with KG on this past episode, I only portray him as like a protagonist and like a good person.
Oh, I think it's cool, man. I think it's great. I think you're doing something fun.
Where can we find it?
Right now, it is pinned on my page. So this isn't a shill to follow me or anything like that. But if you actually want to go see what it is, just go to my profile. I've pinned the most recent episode. I get a little bit better as I go, but it's pretty fun.
Are you the Jason?
I'm not. I'm just Masingo Meme God. That's me.
Oh, got it. Thanks. Sorry to interrupt you, Mando.
But I will. You guys have a good one, and I'll just kind of hush and listen.
Hey, man, appreciate you doing any kind of cool stuff for PulseChain.
Yeah.
Bringing good vibes to the community. You know, obviously that's the type of stuff we want to see, man. People being creative, you know? So appreciate anything you're doing.
Yeah, he's a very good friend of mine, and this is one of many creative ways of onboarding people that I'm fully backing and probably going to sponsor it further, getting him some equipment and training and stuff like that on animation. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see how one step at a time.
That's awesome, Tiger. That's great, man.
I got
what's up, guys? This is the Jason. Speaking of creativity and bringing some attention to PulseChain, I just launched the first real play-to-earn game on PulseChain. Gaming is a huge industry globally, and if people know that they can make money from playing a game, I could imagine a lot of people would really want to come and check that out. So that could really, you know, do a lot to help bring adoption to PulseChain. That would also bring a lot of volume overall to PulseChain, which benefits pTGC. So if you guys want to talk, I would love to talk with you.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it, man. I think I know what you're talking about.
Cool. Yeah, I just want to respect you guys and not try and like shill. I just want you to be aware of who I am.
Got you, man. Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, I've been a long-term holder of pTGC since January of 2024, and it has been an awesome ride. So I really respect you guys, respect what you guys have done. You guys have acted with honor and integrity this whole time. So you've really kind of set the standard. So appreciate you guys. I'll shut up now.
you know what to do with that liquidity pool there.
Yeah, I would love to talk with you guys about that.
But no, you just get it done.
So I've created it. I created it, but you know, I would love to talk with you guys about it.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you guys. All right, I'll be quiet now.
Hey, Zen, I think we're gonna have to sponsor a shield tank, Doc. Starting to, why not? But you gotta give us all the free coins. I'm just.
Yeah, just everyone coming up.
Yeah.
Jason, I think I recognize your name and your PFP. So I've been seeing you around for years now. So I just want to say I appreciate you believing in the Grays for a very long time now. I recognize you. So thanks for coming up and just saying what's up.
100%.
I did have a question for Mingo, Meme God, real quick. Are you guys kind of doing the same thing they do with just like current every single week and make the theme of every episode, or is it based on crypto current events or PulseChain current events, or all of the above? Because that's what I always thought was one of the funniest things about South Park is they were like on it every week about whatever.
If
like
he doesn't respond, I will. I don't know if he's at the mic.
Oh yeah, I will. So I'll just be quick and just say that that's kind of the goal. It's just as quick as I can move. Like there's so many more talented people that are a part of this community than me. Like it is. I'm playing catch up here, but that's the goal. I'd like to do that. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, that's the goal. I do have a question about pTGC and the currency when there's a chance to do it. But anyway, just want to answer that. Thanks, man.
Well, ask now. That's why we're here, man.
Yeah, ask away. Definitely ask the question now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have a bag of that, and so I staked probably 75% of it, and then the remaining 25% I locked, because from my understanding that when I locked it for 90 days because I'm new and I just wanted to see like what's the difference. So locking for 90 days versus just staking and leaving it there, I understand there's like a 1% like contingency, like if I unstake early. So what would you say that for a noob like me, like a huge benefit to locking versus staking? And I'll hush.
Yeah, so let me rewind you a little bit. So when you lock, you have to be staked first. So did you stake 100% of your bag and then just lock 25% of it? Because you cannot lock without staking.
Well, let's say I locked like 125,000 coins in it and then staked it. Or excuse me, I staked it, then I locked it. So
yeah. So you locked a portion of your portfolio in pTGC, and then you took a portion of that, not the whole entire stake, and locked a portion of that.
correct, yeah, and then I staked the other 75%.
Okay. Yes, the stake, it all kind of lands in one. So the stake, it can grow or decrease as you want to add or withdraw. But the lock is an individual unit. So it sounds like you took a portion of your portfolio, staked it, then locked it. And after you did all that, you went and brought more pTGC into the stake, if I'm understanding correct. Because in our system, just to be clear, the staking is separate than the locking, but you do have to stake before you lock. You can never lock without staking first.
You there, Meme God? No, we might have lost him.
Well, hopefully that answered his question.
Well, I didn't even get to the question. I just kind of wanted to make sure we're on the same track. But where I was getting it from there is, if you're listening, Meme God, and if you come up and you miss all that, I'll say it again. It'll go pretty quick. If you end your lock early, you're going to lose 30% of your locked tokens to the other lockers. So that 30% will be taken from you and be distributed amongst all the other lockers based on the percentage of tokens they have locked. If you do your whole 90 days, you can actually remain in the lock infinitely. You never have to close it down. You'll never be penalized, and you'll continue to earn APY. This is like in our system unique because I was always confused on why staking and locking protocols seem to always push people out the door once they fulfill times. I more was like, hey, decide how long you want to stay, but once you fulfill your time, you can still remain here. You're only going to earn in the tier that you agreed to within the code, but you're still going to earn. And if you do the 90 days and you want to close it down, you can close it down, no fees to close that lock down. But when you do withdraw the stake, there's a 1% fee on however much you withdraw from the stake. And even if you fulfill your time period of your lock, there is still always that 1% fee when closing stakes down. You cannot even lock, still 1% fee when closing stakes down. I hope that helped explain that process a little bit.
Yeah.
It did.
Who else wants to come out and chat?
Yeah, I'd be interested just to get Mando's side of what he kind of thinks about that tweet from Richard yesterday, which was a super awesome tweet, super bullish, super powerful, and also just the fact that everyone was obsessing so much about like this tangible, like old school marketing campaign of direct mail. But it's funny about like where we are in society is direct mail, when it has an impact, just makes its way to social media, and you're not even doing like a social media campaign. It's like the direct user posting it, which is, I believe that was the goal Richard had. If they're posting, wow, I got this cool gadget, or what we've seen more recently is, this is a scam, I think, what did I just get? But it's landing in Reddit forums that usually they wouldn't let PulseChain or Hex exist because they like censor that stuff. But we have all these like users that aren't actually PulseChain people now talking about PulseChain and getting PulseChain in front of a whole new group of eyeballs without them even like trying to do so. So I don't know. I just think that's pretty cool how that's playing out. It seems definitely planned, especially alongside Richard's tweet yesterday of just saying like, hey, they yelled scam all the way up to a 10,000x for Hex. How do you think it's going to happen again? Well, most likely people are, who knows if it's 10,000x, but as price increases, people are going to keep getting these. And it's not going to be surprising to me if people keep posting, is this a scam? It's not even people calling it a scam, more people questioning, like, what did I just receive? This is odd. I've never received something like this before in the mail. And them just asking on Reddit, or them asking on Twitter, or them asking on Instagram, or them asking on TikTok. And when people look it up, just like the guy that I was talking about yesterday when I was reading Reddit, he knew of Hex and PulseChain. It sparked he wasn't a PulseChain or Hex person, but he recognized it. And it pushed him that next step further to actually start looking into it a lot more, looking at the chart, seeing the opportunity that it's super cheap, and also recognizing that, wow, there's a massive marketing campaign of millions of devices about to go out, and I'm actually finding out about this very early. There's opportunity there, right? You don't have to be a diehard Hexakin or PulseChain to know that there's opportunity getting into a product before the massive marketing campaign starts. So I don't know if you want to chime in on that a little bit, Mando.
Well, I think that on crypto Twitter especially, you have a lot of people that have never really made any money. You have a lot of people that have never run companies. They've never been part of corporate structured marketing campaigns. They don't have a clue about KPIs or conversion rates. They don't know what it means to put something in front of people, whether it be good, bad, or ugly. You have to cultivate brand recognition. A scam only becomes a scam if it actually scams someone. So you can call something a scam, but that doesn't mean it's a scam. And I don't blame people for getting on and asking, hey, is this a scam? That's kind of part of the point from one vantage point. I don't blame people for having OPSEC and asking, hey, are you guys seeing this? Is this a scam? They're protecting themselves. This is what we want people to do. But in doing that, they're mass marketing the product. And this is the genius behind Richard Hart. He knows this. He understands the power of talking, of people talking, right? When you get people talking, more people talk. When you get people asking, more people ask. When you get people seeing, more people see. And it all snowballs on itself from one category into the next category into the next category of marketing. And you know, this is part of professional marketing. And if you go back even prior to the rollout and you go back and you read his tweets, it's indicative of a very well thought out marketing strategy, and it's not going to be the only part of the strategy.
Yeah.
But you can see that right away. Even it's hitting things and tapping certain categories and certain social media websites that you wouldn't have even thought would even have happened already in the first 3 days, right? So that's what I really want people to pick up on is you didn't think at all that you would already start to see this stuff. You didn't think you'd have large accounts tweeting it out or asking questions about it or it's showing up in Reddit. It's already creating conversation and discussion, let alone, you know, is it a scam? Is it not a scam? What is this? Why are we receiving this? And it's all happening at the same time where Richard is very active about speaking about it. And so it's just another genius way of marketing. I will say this, again, I don't see any other blockchains actively marketing their thing to any new users. So when I see people that are on X and I'm looking at their accounts, if they're talking negatively, I'm kind of like going through and looking at what they're into, and I don't see their thing marketing to millions and millions of target market new customers. I don't see that. To me, as a PulseChain ecosystem investor, I'm very happy to see massive marketing campaigns beginning in the middle of a bull run for my product. That's something that I'm very happy about. It amazes me, though, that a lot of people, they just instantly go negative or critique, you know, that they just negatively critique something. It's just indicative of just stupidity and just immaturity or whatever. But this is it. I mean, this is the beginning of a massive marketing campaign for our blockchain. And I think it's a great way to put something in the hands of customers and potential customers just to say thank you for taking a look. Another thing is it's a legitimate nonprofit organization with the real information, with everything on the packaging. Those are real names behind those things, you know. Generally, that's not indicative of a scam when you've got the addresses and the non-for-profits posted right on the damn stamp, you know. So it's very bullish to me, and I think that if you look on the weekly chart of PulseChain, it bottomed out, it went up, it created a higher low, it went back up. It's now looking like on the weekly like that's the first weekly candle that's creating another higher low. And hopefully this is the beginning of an off to the races moment for the community. I think it will be. I think the bottom is in for PulseChain, without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree. It's awesome to see that, you know, these devices are just going out now. More recently, probably, you know, they're starting to hit doorsteps, and we're already seeing an impact via marketing, not only to the users getting the device, but also whatever outreach that individual user has via Reddit or their own Twitter, etc. And
well, if I'm on another chain right now, right, and I'm not necessarily seeing great momentum, and I start seeing, damn, Richard's straight up doing a massive marketing campaign. Look at what the founder of PulseChain is and the community are willing to do to go out there and get their products in front of new markets across the world, because it's not just happening in the United States, it's happening in Europe and other places too. So unless you have something that's superior to that, or any activity, frankly, you're thinking, that's an active community. That's an active founder. That's millions and millions of dollars of marketing campaigns going out with legitimate product and a really cool idea. You can critique the shit out of something all day long, but your critique does not stop conversion rates. So it really doesn't matter, you know? So I like it. I think it's great. I think it's genius. I think it's something fun that, you know, families will like to use. I think it's perfect and correct for people to be asking, is this a scam? What is this? You know, if I connect it to Wi-Fi, does it instantly drain my wallet or something? You know, something like this, you know? This is what creates conversations, man. So.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The one person, guy, girl, whoever it was, that responded saying they recognized the logos, you know, that they are in crypto, but they're not a PulseChain or Hex person. But them receiving this device, them realizing that there's a massive marketing push going on, pushed them to start doing a little bit of Google searching, looking into it a little bit further, and actually now is considering putting an investment into PulseChain, knowing that there is this active marketing push going on, right? That is actually giving them comfort in their investment, knowing that, hey, these just started going out, and there's been word that these things are going to go out for 6 months, maybe longer. And that's a pretty good place to start, even if you're not into Richard Hart, or you are, right? And you're just on other blockchains. You're looking at the blockchain you're on, you're like asking yourself, well, what are they doing to get adoption? What are they doing to succeed this bull market? What are they doing to get new users? And then you look at PulseChain, not looking at a lot of the other cool things of PulseChain that may or may not happen, but just the marketing pieces alone, it's somewhat a step above a lot of the other blockchains out there. Maybe not as good as maybe others, maybe not as good as what Bitcoin is maybe doing right now, but for a start, from where we are right now, huge opportunity. And they just need to be reminded that we exist and we're here, and we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and then you know, you take right now, when you look right now at the mean of what Richard's ecosystem is doing, right? And it's 9.1% on the 24-hour. pTGC's up 12.8, UFO's up 9.9. So I don't know if because I just got off of a plane. I just flew into DFW from Santa Barbara. And when you're looking at the pTGC buys and sells, I see 57,000 in buys, 31,000 in sells. And we're looking at, on a refresh, 13% on the day. So you have a 9.1% mean on the cores with a 13% uptick on the day. So we've got some buys, and we've got some reflexivity, and $121.52 million market cap. So, we see a positive uptick just in the last, 3 days or whatever on the weekly since this has started. And then in the last 24 hours, there was a really nice move. But I think this is really just the beginning. But I just say that to say it's really nice to see the system react that reflexively here. Because we, for people that don't know, I mean, I think we were just sitting at like 103 million just 2 days ago or yesterday even. And this entire month or month and a half, I mean, the system has just been accumulating billions of PulseChain. Anybody that's been wanting to kind of get rid of some of their positions have, but the fact that we see it, from almost 100 million market cap to 122 million market cap in 24 hours, it's beautiful. I mean, this is what the system's designed to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, I think, either forget or they're not fully aware or don't want to hear that it's just a machine, it's just math, it's just code. And the machine does adjust with human interaction, right? Buys make the pumps even bigger, sells, decrease the pumps or make, dumps even bigger. But it is just machine, it is just code. Today is a great example. When PulseChain starts to increase, pTGC will increase as well. pTGC is working off of its own reflexivity, which I like to call the X multiplier. When we have additional buys, when new users coming over to the chain actually want to be exposed to this product, we've found due to the last 2 years of performance that tons of people want to be exposed to this code. It's a product that a lot of people like. People like the idea of you hold one, you hold all. People like the idea of deflationary tokenomics. People like the idea of APY built into the code. So I do believe when new users start trickling into PulseChain or flooding into PulseChain, however it happens, a good portion of those users will want to be exposed to pTGC. Yeah, there will be users who want to take profits or, this is any blockchain, this is Bitcoin, this is Ethereum, this is Hex, this is any product that exists. There's people who are earlier or people who are later that decide to leave. There is also new users, if your product has good product market fit, that come in and either boost your ecosystem. One thing that we just have that is so strong is how much liquidity that we have tied with not only PulseChain, but a lot of the other amazing tokens on chain. For an example, just yesterday, Hex went on a nice run, right? Hex went up, I think, 20% at one time. And since we have such a large pairing with Hex, that actually helped with our reflexivity, our price appreciation against Pulse with additional buys on our chart. So we got to actually reap the rewards of both. And also, we got to generate revenue off of this. And that's what a lot of people don't realize is today it was Hex, tomorrow might be PulseX. The third day might be Most, or maybe one pulls back more than the other. Every time the market has these volatile movements of one specific asset or a couple specific assets more than the other, they are tapping into our liquidity web and we're able to generate revenue off of this. And this happens every single day, and this is going to happen for the entire existence of PulseChain. And we get to take that revenue and use it to increase the value of our ecosystem. If that's by giving our holders APY as an incentive to hold our asset, if that's buying and burning our tokens, making them more scarce, while shoving that PLS or whatever into the liquidity pools, giving the remaining tokens more value, or if that's just pairing up with more Richard's tickers, burning that LP, maybe pairing up with stables at the end of a bull market, pairing up with Bitcoin, Ethereum at the end of a bull market, just because it's a very great store of value at this point. We have a lot of flexibility, but the machine has just proven for almost 2 years now to work very, very well. And in crypto, when people talk about a machine or talk about a utility or talk about a value source that they're working off of, very little amount of time that they actually work, very little amount of time people actually even want to use it. That's the funny thing about the word utility is you have to have a user that's willing to use that utility to generate a revenue. With pTGC and UFO, the utility isn't based on a human interaction, but based on a guarantee that the market provides day in, day out. Yes, some days that's the market moving down. That's what we've experienced to date on PulseChain since pTGC was launched. Yeah, it moves up and down, but for the most part, it's gone down. And we've been able to perform very, very well with our ability to take this value generation and push it into our ecosystem. What happens when that turns around? Today is a great example of what happens when that starts to turn around. We get value generation, we get new users coming across the bridge wanting to be exposed to this product, and we get price appreciation not only from our ecosystem, but from the ecosystems that we're attached to, Richard's products. And I'm beyond excited. I think we're getting close to where we don't have to talk about it much more. We're going to be able to witness it in real time. And I think that's going to be super cool to be on these spaces and it being 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%. Because it only takes 41 10% to do a 50x.
It happens quick when it happens too.
Yep.
There's very little amount of PulseChain, PulseX, Hex, pTGC, UFO on the market for the rest of the world. And I do think not only the marketing campaign, I do think there's other things in the works, just like the combination of a marketing push with green candles coming to an undervalued blockchain at the right time when the bull market's actually going on, when new values actually flowing into risk on assets, all that coming together. Again, there's just barely any tokens for everyone. And if people actually are properly exposed to great products that have lack of supply, prices could just go absolutely crazy, especially if the people who hold those assets don't want to let them go at low prices. Of course, in any product, there's going to be people who want to let them go, right? You go up 10x, there's people who want to let it go. Go up 10%, people want to let it go. Go up 5%, people want to let it go. But how many? How many people want to let pTGC go at just a 3x from here, 4x from here, 10x from here? How many people want to let Richard's products go at just those amount of x's from here when they see a flood of new users coming in willing to buy those tokens right from them?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Matt, because I've been watching the DAO, and the DAO has just been accumulating a ton of billions of pulse. And I don't know when the last time there was a buy-in burn. And so to me, when it goes into that mode, sometimes we have people that came into VCs and they start asking those questions like, what's the strategy there? But when I watch the DAO just start to basically just go in that accumulation phase, even when the price ratio-wise is down near a bottom, that tells me when I'm looking at the markets end, that's indicative of me being able to say, okay, right now is when you really get to see what the holder base is made of at this point. Because you're nearing another local low. You're nearing another local low ratio-wise against PLS. The DAO is not buying up the chart currently right now because there's a lot of strategic reasons why you wouldn't be doing that. So right now is we're going to see what the holder base is like, right? And the fact that you can sit there just very comfortably at over $100 million market cap, kind of low volume, just accumulating pulse, it speaks to the strength of where we currently are at. So when you ask the question, where do people want to sell or whatever? I mean, it's obvious that at these levels, man, you don't have people that are anywhere near wanting to get rid of their tokens at this level because the price would be way lower. I think that over the last 3 weeks, me personally watching the the habits of anybody that's in the system, it's just we're kind of hitting that next tipping point again at that point, right? Didn't even go below 100 million market cap, I don't think. But if there's a turnaround here, that's indicative of basically a brand new floor, which is very powerful. It just says that people know what the people that are left, they predominantly, Zen, they know what they hold in the asset. There's just not a lot of people that I don't think that have larger holdings don't know what they hold at this point.
Yeah, they for sure have been tested, right? There's not a lot of tokens out there that have done very large amounts of X's and also had very nice retracements as well from doing a lot of X's. So our holder base has seen their portfolios grow. They've also seen their portfolios shrink. If that doesn't test their strength and their belief in a protocol, I don't really know what else you could do. Time, well, pTGC's been out for almost 2 years now. I think we've been out for quite a bit amount of time, tested them in time. We've been able to show them, educate them on what this product does over the long term. Then they've been able to watch the product do what we've said we believed it would do over the long term, and it's proven to be so. Now we're just kind of at the point, I agree, somewhat of a tipping point where a catalyst to this equation can be added at any second. And someone in my feed asked me this. They said, when you say catalyst, what are you talking about? Just Hart's Law? And yes, a part of me is talking about Hart's Law for, yeah, it's nice to see price move up. You know, hey, PulseChain moves up 10x, pTGC moves up 10x. Cool, right? Now we're at $1 billion market cap. That's just one aspect of it to me, though, because when PulseChain moves up 10x, you know, that probably takes roughly $10 million, maybe $15 million of net positive value flowing over the bridge. Does that come from a user who possibly wants pTGC? Possibly. Does that come from a user who wants any of Richard's tickers? Possibly. Well, by that user coming over the bridge and also wanting to expose themselves in pretty much any alt on the chain, it's actually an X multiplier for pTGC's price over PulseChain, right? So if PulseChain is just doing a 10x and we have zero net buyers, zero net sellers besides this net flow of users, and even if these users don't even land directly on pTGC, if they land pretty much within anything of our web, we're going to be pushing up, right? That's a huge catalyst. Actual value coming into the chain instead of leaving the chain. There's less value here than when PulseChain launched. There's less value when pTGC's launched. There's less value here than when UFO launched. Like, that's a nice catalyst, actually having new value, new users coming to the chain that we do know want to be exposed to a product like this. Another feature that I find is important with the catalyst of this assets moving up is the volume increasing. By value flowing over, this is increasing the volume of the chain, which naturally increases the value of pTGC and UFO's ecosystem because we generate revenue off of volume, user volume, and our bot volume. And then you think about the increase in value of the assets and the increase of volume. Well, now these R bots need to move even more money to fix the ratios of the pools. So now we're generating even more revenue, not only off of the human volume that's happening more naturally on chain because of the value flowing in, but also the arbitrage bots have to move more value to fix pairs. Well, this increases our liquidity faster. This is increasing the APY for our holders, and this is also increasing our buy and burn in the DAO, filling up with funds. So when I mean the catalyst, guys, it's not just price appreciation. Price appreciation, I know, makes everyone feel great, but it's also making the sustainability of our ecosystem stronger at each price floor. Because as we move up in price, we also want to see the ecosystem, as far as like the features we're talking about, increasing as well. We want to see buying birds happening in higher dollar values. We want to see liquidity ads happening in higher dollar values. We want to see APY happening in higher value dollars too. And the increase in success of the blockchain is a massive catalyst to all of these things happening. And when these things start to happen, it's momentum, right? It starts to build on itself. When you roll something down a hill and it starts getting momentum, that momentum starts to build on top of it. And next thing you know, it's going faster and faster and faster and faster. It becomes very difficult to stop once it hits certain momentum speeds. You know, it's like someone rolling a bowling ball at your foot with very little pressure, or someone really pushing it at your foot with a lot of pressure. You don't mind stopping it when they barely toss it at you, but if someone really puts it at you, you don't really want to put your foot in front of that anymore. And that's what the whole entire PulseChain or pTGC and UFO ecosystem can be, with just that catalyst, I believe, dripped in to this ecosystem. And the sweet thing about it is all of that value is just getting shoved back into the protocol, not only helping the pTGC and UFO users, but also helping the PulseChain users too, because we are so heavily bonded to Hex, PulseX, Pulse. As we increase, because we've become so large now, we're actually dragging up these other assets as well. It's now not so much the dog wagging the tail, because we've, in the last 2 years, we've increased our size. You know, we're not just a tail anymore. We're now getting as large as the dogs. You know, our market cap's getting as large as these protocols. Our liquidity is getting as large as these protocols. It's turning into a very decent sized ecosystem where we can now start helping out Richard's tickers more symbiotically to help the overall success of the chain.
Toy guy, I see you up here as a speaker. You got something to share, or Kuhn? And he's gone.
Okay.
You scared him, Mando.
You scared him off, Mando.
Yeah, well, I know my boy Kuhn ain't scared, so get your ass up here.
No, brother, that's it. Can you guys hear me properly? Because I'm having issues with my.
Yep, you're good, man. You're good.
Can you guys hear me properly?
Yep, you're good, man.
Yeah, sure. I just thought, just coming in. I don't really have too much to say, other than the fact that I just want to remind everyone, and even remind myself, the hardest thing this cycle that's really hurt everyone, I think, at the end of the day, is time. Times have put the pressure on all of us, especially the ones that have been here from the outset, which I know majority of people are the ones that have been here from the outset. And something just clicked in my head over the last 24 hours when I was listening to a few different spaces, is the fact that this ecosystem, PulseChain, this community and pTGC, which is an even stronger reflection of that, we're backing on a grassroots community, blockchain, VC funding, and has a founder that really understands supply versus demand, and making sure the majority of the tokens are actually locked up and they're not available for purchase. That's something that really the light bulb clicked in my mind over the last couple of days, is the fact that I always thought that a token that had thick liquidity was difficult to move, but it's actually not the case. It's multiple things, and if a coin has thick liquidity but has very low number of tokens left in the supply to be able to purchase, that is more of a factor of it being able to price appreciate and also strengthen in terms of an asset. So PulseChain, Hex, all have very low or limited number of tokens out there to actually purchase. And we've been waiting for so long for that new wave of fresh liquidity to come in, new investors and everything else. And Mando, I know you've been saying it, and I've been saying it, that things are going to start moving next month and the month after. We've been on the right train of thought. We've just always been a little bit too early in our thinking, and timing is everything in crypto. And I don't know. I don't know what I'm really trying to say. Is I'm just trying to reiterate that the opportunity here doesn't, and it really is coming to a head with this marketing campaign push now. So I'm just sitting on the edge of my seat, basically, waiting.
Well, I think Kuhn, piggybacking off what you're saying, I always tell B, and this is just kind of one of my things, and I say this all the time. It's inputs and outputs, right? It's inputs and outputs. Your outputs are shit without good inputs. So if your inputs and your variables are A, B, C, D, but your A, B, C, D doesn't line up, what your outputs are trash. And this cycle, essentially, man, has been a very difficult cycle in terms of what your analysis was of your initial ABCD, right? It started with the front running of Bitcoin, when Bitcoin front ran an all-time high before the halving, and everyone said, holy shit, what the hell just happened? That's never happened before, right? That threw a lot of people off. And at the end of the day, when we're talking about, what we think we're going to happen with PulseChain, you're also trying to factor in, okay, what's the market doing? What's Ethereum going to do? We did not expect Ethereum to sit there floundering. That's the second A and then B. So B was A's front run. Bitcoin's being thrown off. B is Ethereum's just sitting there floundering, right? Which that's not normative. And then you have the political stuff that goes on. Trump goes in there, launches his Trump token, and that just basically was like the local top, which just imploded all the energy out of everything. We didn't see any of that stuff coming. And there's just been a lot of stuff that the inputs have just been trash. But it's always hindsight's 2020, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. That's it, man. And I would put it as hurdles that you get in a bull run and a bear market and the cycles that you don't foresee. But for this cycle, it's just been hurdle after hurdle that's unforeseen, but then pushing us back down into our box where time has just been the biggest killer. Time has really bled the non-believers out, and the believers are still here, but hanging on by a thread. I can even personally say for myself that, I'm having to make sure that I've got all my finances in play to make sure I stay, active as an active investor and holding my positions, because time, has really caught me out. But, I'm able to do that, thank God. So, and I hope others aren't getting too pressed too much. But I think we were just early to that thinking. Our thinking and our train of thought has been correct. It's just been drawn out for so long. But just want to reemphasize that whole supply thing really hit that light bulb in my mind, that it's not just about the size of the liquidity pools that really hold the token down. It's the amount of tokens that are available on the market makes something really scarce that can really drive price appreciation, repricing of assets, and then the FOMO kicks in. And I think we really are, and I've been saying this every month for the last 6 months, but I think we really are at the cusp of this thing just igniting, and I'm getting excited again for the 10th time.
I mean, think of it, man. We just saw ETH barely touch a new all-time high.
Yeah, so that's thrown us out. That's so then, I personally don't believe in an extended cycle, but, that there's a sign showing us that potentially we have a massive extended cycle. You just don't know which way it's going to play. So you just have to make sure that you're sustainable in your way of investing, that you're a genius if you're right and you're a genius if you're wrong, and you have to make sure that you keep your foot in the door and don't fade into the distance, because you just don't know when it's going to kick off.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, Kuhn, I kind of have a thought process on the scarcity of PulseChain, scarcity of pTGC and UFO. And crypto is a very unique product because there is things that sometimes consume them, like the buy and burns, the buy and burns of PLSX, the buy and burns of pTGC, buy and burns of UFO, the situation with pump.tires where it's trapping PLS in liquidity, even with dead projects, pretty much taking those PLS off the market. So that kind of makes it, in the supply and demand world, like it more of something that's consumed, like a consumable. So people are trying to get at it, but there's just less and less. But then there's also like the returnables. And a lot of crypto assets, even all those assets that I just listed, are also returnable, where people can actually put it back into liquidity pool and get back the value they exchanged it for. Usually this is PLS, right? And you also have to factor in demand. So you can have scarce assets, and I believe Richard did very well because there is very little liquidity on chain, making PulseX, Pulse, Hex. We've done very well with pTGC and UFO, making them very scarce assets. But a scarce asset doesn't really mean much if the demand isn't there, especially when those assets are returnable. They're not consumed. They're it's not like their users are stuck with these products to where there's only 5 of them left. They can actually return them at any point. But if you have scarce assets and the demand comes in and the users who have the assets are not willing to give those assets up, that's where the real supply shock comes in. If you give users, holders, the reason to keep holding their asset, even if price goes higher and higher and higher and higher. And this is the part that Richard did very, very well with Hex. Written within the code, people actually locked their assets up before they could even make this decision, which very much helped with the supply scarcity. When the demand actually rolled in, there was very little return factor because a lot of people just straight couldn't. And that pushed the price up even higher. I think that going into this next push, Richard did very, very well. I think pTGC and UFO did very good as well on very scarce supplies. There's just not a lot of this asset left for the rest of the world. pTGC kind of has, and PulseX and UFO have these demand loops going on to where it's taking the market volatility and then using that to add a constant demand into the protocol. But a real demand from users wanting these products can push these products price-wise very, very high. The question we need to ask ourselves is the user base. How strong is this user base? And will that demand push past the user base that's willing to sell into it? And after we buy out, or after the protocols buy out, or after the new user base coming in buys out, the user base that is willing to sell at a 5x, a 10x, how much further can we actually push? And I think it's going to be quite surprising just due to how scarce these products are, how well they have technically done with very little demand on the chain, and a huge push about to start. Very much. I think the world is about to find out.
Yeah, and just on your point,
go ahead.
The whole that there's really not too many tokens left in circulation in terms of percentage for the amount of people that the community that holds them, but then the new investors that are coming in. Like the biggest light, I'll say it again, the biggest light bulb that clicked on for me in the last couple of days is there's just no other layer 1 community, and then amazing tokens on that like pTGC and UFO, which are a leverage on that work this way. The scarcity doesn't exist in all the other cryptos. And you've got VCs, they come in at billions of market cap, launch, where the upside potential has already been basically pilfered because you've got all these, inside investors that have got it in early before it's launched. That doesn't exist on PulseChain. And Richard Hart, and obviously yourself, Zen, you've worked that out, that you take that supply out of circulation, you make sure liquidity pools are strong enough to where they need to be, but that won't hold price down. And because it's a low circulating supply of tokens remaining, when you get this new wave come in, and with this marketing push now from Richard Hart, and you can just see people coming across and starting to invest into it, like if the cores are going to go bonkers because there's minimal left to supply of just the cores, PulseChain, PulseX next. What's pTGC and UFO going to do in that situation? I mean, we all here pretty much know the answer to that, but we haven't seen it because it hasn't happened yet, and we've been waiting so long for it. So I'm just
you know, Kuhn, it's always one of those things where, yes, if you've been here from the beginning, we've waited for so long. Like, it's been 4 years, right? It's been 4 years. But you're an older gentleman. Yeah, I mean, we're you know, I don't know how much older you are than me, but you've lived long enough to have some wisdom. Yeah, and you do understand the paradigm of time. It always seems like it's so long until it doesn't.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you look back and you're like, oh, damn, that was so fast. I can't believe that. I mean, I made that much money and I only, right? It's always that perspective. It's always the doldrums when you're in it until you're not.
Yeah, couldn't have said any better, Amanda. That's exactly my point.
But to your point, if you know that Richard's been bull posting, they're going to be butthurt. All the haters are going to be really butthurt. Are they going to literally sit there and watch the next 10,000x? I don't know what that means, but I know this. That's bull posting. That's bull posturing. That's mega posturing.
Because what's the competition, Mando? There's no competition.
But my point is you asked the question, what does pTGC do? This isn't up for debate anymore. It's not up for debate what it does. We've watched for 26 months, and we've collected with amazing people from all kinds of different communities. pTGC is one of the coolest communities because regardless of the player versus player, we've got people from every community in Grays just because they're crypto people and they freaking love it. And they've all watched. They've all seen the data come in. If Richard's cores go apeshit, this system is going to make so much money. People are going to wish to God that they didn't sell or that they bought right now, because we know we can literally tell if this is the volume, this is what it makes. There aren't systems out there like that. Everything is just a trash. It's just literally just a Ponzi, or it's a meme that just continue. You know, it's a narrative for a flash in the pan. It's not this.
There really is no comparison at all. So if someone was to tell me PulseChain and PulseX and Hex and pTGC and UFO aren't going to do the numbers that you're expecting this cycle and next cycle, you got to park your money somewhere else. There's nowhere else to park your money. There's nowhere else that's reliable enough on the mathematics that Mando's talking about, with the proven record of Richard Hart and then the proven record of pTGC and UFO.
You're cutting out a little bit there, Kuhn.
Return and community.
Exactly. Zen?
Yeah, Kuhn. Yeah, I agree with you. When you look around, really, what else is out there? Look at the top 100 assets. Even the best assets in crypto, the top 100, there are a bunch of ships with holes in them, and they just keep temporarily plugging these holes. If it's not, maybe the protocol has a utility, and that utility actually generates a lot of revenue. But gosh, that revenue is not even going back to the protocol. Really, a lot of the holders holding that token have no reason to hold it whatsoever. They're just hoping price goes up because other people speculate that some of that money is going to come back. Very little of that money actually goes into that protocol because that protocol has so much overhead. A lot of these top 100 cryptos have so much overhead that a lot of the revenue that they generate never even gets to go to token price, let alone to the holders in some form of APY. And then the tokens that don't have overhead don't have any utility, don't have any ability to generate revenue. So they're just sitting there waiting for new users to come in and out. And then you go to like some of the blockchains. You can literally look at every blockchain that exists. Every single one has founders that sell. gosh, we're sitting in a great spot if our founder just doesn't sell, let alone pump it. So I do think if Richard wants to, I do think some control is there. I do think some of it's on our own community to keep grinding, keep working, keep onboarding. Mathematically, we're set up so far ahead of everyone else. And that's all crypto is. It's just a big Excel spreadsheet. And you can fudge all of the equations and pick all the equations to put all of the economic energy into your favor. You do not need to let it leak out. You don't need to give it to here or give it to there. You can actually program the systems to amplify all the features that actually matter. Price appreciation, incentivizing people to hold the asset, incentivize price appreciation so you can actually use the chart to onboard new users. We haven't had any of that stuff really to date, but I think that could rapidly change to the blockchain that we're on actually has a better looking chart, huge marketing push, green candles, more liquidity on chain. More liquidity on chain means more buying and burning for pTGC, UFO, and PulseX. PulseX is heavily bonded to Hex. That will start dragging Hex up. I do think Hex is going to have really good price appreciation as well, just due to the lack of liquidity and the fact that the APY for staking Hex has been dropped by quite a bit. So the supply has the future supply has technically been reduced. And we just have a lot of features here on chain that have been yet to be shown to the public due to the friction of the blockchain. But with this, if this blockchain just 10x's, all of these protocols, all of these features that actually operate stronger than everything else that exists will be put front and center. They will all be making it into the top 100 of crypto. PulseX, Hex, Pulse, pTGC, UFO, I don't think would be quite there, but we'd be making our way in that direction with UFO. And the competition is just not that stout. We just need that chance.
Yeah, I think Zen too. Like, people forget that in the real world, Kuhn can chime in on this, but it generally will take between 3 to 5 years for a legitimate company to begin to turn a profit. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're doing what you're doing, you have to be willing to kind of eat, top ramen, for a certain amount of time, because it takes a while to build something, let alone in the crypto space, let alone like the minute you launch, you get basically attacked by the strongest federal government on the planet, in a very tough environment. So yeah, hindsight's always 20/20. And then going back just real quick too, if you just Google or if you just use Grok and you look up legacy investments that actually, there's a fee associated with them, which is generally between 2 and up to 5%. You just realize that, yeah, in the real world, people in crypto, they just think that they're just going to put in $5,000 and tomorrow have $50 million in the bank account. And that's just not the real world, right? You can hit big quick, but PulseChain was never the meme coin, thing, right? Even with Hex, when you look at the chart, it was a year and a half, and that was an ERC20 token. So I think we're literally on the brink. Kuhn, if you wanted to chime back in.
Yeah, sorry guys. Dropping out of reception is terrible around here where I am at the moment. But yeah, Amanda, I couldn't agree more. Like, I'll give a little personal financial business decision that I made. So about 10 years ago, I decided to go in with my brother into purchasing a pub. and taken that business over. But the pub hadn't been running for 2 years, so dusted cobwebs, and basically it took us a good 2 to 3 years to make sure the business wasn't losing capital and was just turning and just breaking even. And then the rapport started building off the back of that, and the place started doing some green years, in the 4th and the 5th, and it's been running for 10 years now, and it's now quite consistent. And that's kind of the way I look at PulseChain, this community, this layer one. It's grassroots. We've started from the beginning. There's always a rocky road at the start, and I feel like Richard almost intended that for it to be that way because of the fact that he did just need to make sure the non-believers were shook out. But it takes time, and we all underestimate the time that it takes. Even if you've had the real world experience of running your own business and being entrepreneurial and the rest of it, it still catches you out. And yeah, I just think that everyone who's still here now, kudos to you. It's been a tough slog as an investor to see the prices being suppressed for so long, but we really are at the precipice. And and that's just even if this cycle holds as a cycle and may continue on a lot longer. But all of these coins we're talking about, PulseChain, Hex, PulseX, the cores, and of course pTGC and UFO, they're multi-cycle coins. They've got the consistency there, they've got the grassroots, and they've got the mechanics and the metrics and the mathematics, as we know now, that you just can't find anywhere else in crypto. So yeah, that's pretty much summing it up. If you're here, you're investing, you just need to be patient and make sure you don't sell on a 2x. That's all I'm saying.
We're 9 away from 16,300 holders for wallets. Wallets are increasing.
Yeah, awesome to see.
Yeah, up 14.23% on the day.
But Mando,
that's beautiful.
That's beautiful. But we're still in PvP mode. I hope everyone realizes this. It hasn't happened yet. So just
but I'm gonna tell you right now, Kuhn. I'm gonna tell you right now, dude. There ain't nothing on PulseChain that I'm selling my pTGC for. You can kiss my ass. Let me tell you something right now. You go out, you do all your PvP all you want, do whatever you want, bro. You ain't getting my damn tokens.
Yeah, that's it. And
these are superior tokens on PulseChain. pTGC is the bee's freaking knees on PulseChain.
And how
There's
funny,
nothing
man,
else.
was it that everyone was, during that, so remember that time about 2, 3, 6 months ago, everyone was concerned about, but there's too many whales in the system and there's too many people in profit and this, that, and the other. But you know what happened over the last 3 months? The people who felt that way sold. They're out. We saw it with our own eyes. And they're going to miss the next run up, which is going to be the biggest one yet.
And we've even had some of the larger holders sell some too and get out. Some with $1 billion, some with 500 million. The system just buys them out.
It chewed them up. It actually
just buys them out, dude.
Yeah, it took the percentages off the top and it just distributed it to all of us, which is amazing. I don't know. There's actually nothing in the real world that actually sort of holds a candle. There's not many things in the real world that hold a candle to it.
Over the last 30 days, it's been buying them out without the DAO even deploying the capital.
Yeah, the DAO hasn't
between the market itself and new users coming in and the buy and burn. The system has been eating these people out of their positions without the DAO.
So the DAO hasn't deployed. The killer whale hasn't deployed anything in the last 30 to 60 days. Well, not too much, has it?
No.
So that's great. That's fantastic. Look at that. How strong is this community? I don't know. You won't find this anywhere else on any other blockchain. It's just you're battling a minefield on all other blockchains just to not lose your funds.
If you go right now on the daily chart and you invert it to against Pulse, you'll see that we're now at a 10.11. Remember, we bottomed at a 7.71 to 1 on that last downturn, right? Okay. Well, we just bottomed at 9.27. We're back up to 10.11 with an uptrend starting to happen on PulseChain. And by the way, PulseChain just reversed against PulseX. So PulseChain PLS actually has started to make a move against Pulse in the last 3 days. I don't know if you're aware of that or not. A lot of people take into consideration PulseX with the buy and burn, but it just broke resistance against PulseX, and it looks like Pulse is starting to make a move against PulseX.
Oh yeah, well. This is Pulse against PulseX, because it's correct that rising channel. And now it looks like it could be flipping the other way.
So Mando, I have a very different opinion on this than a lot of people. A lot of people think that PulseX is overly hyped because of them talking about the buy and burn and stuff like that.
I don't think it's overhyped at all. I love it.
But that reversal, Pulse to PulseX, what I believe is going to happen is when new value starts to flow in, the new value always taps Pulse first. And when Pulse increases, it's going to automatically increase PulseX the same way it works with pTGC and UFO and Hex. And then whatever trickles down off of Pulse to the sub assets like PulseX. So you have to remember PulseX is working off of reflexivity just like every other asset. So I really don't think if we have a serious run here on PulseChain, I do not think that ratio is going to flip back like most people are calling out right now. A lot of people think that it's going to flip into positive PulseX ratio, PulseX going down. If we see a real inflow of value coming into PulseChain right now, I do not think that's the case. I think we're going to have a heavier increase on PulseX just due to how reflexivity and the X multiplier works.
But Zen, the difference we're talking about, it might be, in terms of percentages, it might actually, well, it could be a lot, but I'm thinking it could be, minuscule. That everything on the chain really starts moving up quite aggressively, and maybe PulseX outperforms Pulse, or maybe Pulse outperforms PulseX, but I've got a feeling that they're both going to do so extremely well over the next period that it's not even going to be that much of a difference for a point of discussion.
Yeah, but the best part about it though is that if you own the Grays, it doesn't matter because you're just killing it anyway, no matter what happens, and the system's generating a boat ton of revenue from these assets trading against each other in the pairs, man. I just bring it up because I just always think, just like we have so many KPIs within the Grays ecosystem, I think that looking at the KPIs within Richard's ecosystem are interesting. And when I see, like right here, kind of a bottoming of PulseX against Pulse, I just think that's an interesting thing to look at right now. Obviously, anybody coming to PulseChain has to start with Pulse. You've got to have the gas native coin. You don't have to have PulseX. Yes, there's a buy and burn. Yes, there's reflexivity, but you don't have to have PulseX. And we still have the opportunity for stuff to be added onto PulseX to even incentivize PulseX. And we don't even know all the things that are potentially coming, to the token. But I just think it's interesting to note that it's kind of, if you go to Deck Screener and you put in the pair, you can see it's kind of just sitting there right now, starting to creep up. And the best part about the Grays, man, is we got all of it. We've just got all of it. So you're just going to get that mean plus the burns, plus the buy, and plus the revenue generation, plus the yield. It's just perfect, bro. We just need to watch the machine turn on.
While we're talking about charts as well, I don't know if anyone's realized this, but out of pretty much majority or all tokens on PulseChain. pTGC, and I haven't looked at UFO, but pTGC definitely has very clear hidden bullish divergence on the RSI and everything else. I might actually, this talks inspired me to do maybe a little post on this, and I'll probably do it in the next 24 hours. But there is huge hidden bullish divergence on our chart. Huge.
You're talking about just standard RSI, right?
Yeah, standard RSI. I'll have to look into a little bit more again because I'm not in front of my laptop. But yeah, it's showing. It's showing very, very big hidden bullish divergence.
Take a look. Yeah, and it just bounced right off that.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Right off that 29, man. Like on the clock, bro.
So there's bullish divergence, but then there's hidden bullish divergence. And I'll again, like I said, I'll make a post, or I'll make it really clear, and I'll throw it out there, and I'll tag the right people so it gets out. But it's looking very healthy, that's for sure.
Yeah, do that, man. Prairie, where you at, man? You fall asleep?
Nope. I'm here enjoying the conversation.
I'm enjoying seeing all your stuff, man. It's been awesome. I was on the beach the other day, and I was just like, Prairie's just over here just crushing it, dude. Like, just pushing stuff out like crazy, you know? Gotta love Prairie Banana.
Thank you. Did you?
What are you seeing right now? What are you seeing? Like, what were you just gonna say?
Did you see the post that I put up this afternoon of my speculation on the mailers? I did a poll, and I referenced the poll in the post.
I did see that post on X. I didn't see a video though.
No, I didn't do a video. So what I did is I had an idea yesterday, because we've all been speculating, you know, like how many people are going to respond. We don't know. What kind of money are they going to put in? And we betted at round numbers like, $1,000 or $5,000. And yesterday I'm like, man, I can do a poll on Telegram. So I did this poll on Telegram this morning. 119, I think, respondents, you know, with different pricing brackets. And the question is, how much money did you put into crypto? Not PulseChain, but crypto. When you discovered crypto, how much money did you put in your first 6 months? You know what the average was?
What?
It was $24,000. $24,000. Now, granted, all the people that responded are probably people that have, you know, mucked it out with you and I through the bear market. So they're like diehard crypto people. So sure, the results are going to be a little bit skewed. So I took half of that, and and I speculated $12,000. So I estimated of the mailer recipients, 2%. If 2% put $12,000 in to PulseChain out of 10 million, if we do 10 million mailers, it's just a good round divisible number. That would be $2.4 billion of buy pressure. Obviously, we're not including, this is just gross numbers. $2.4 billion of buy pressure on PulseChain. That would send PulseChain like 77,000 X's, 70 something thousand X's. And obviously pTGC, if it just moves 5X against that, something like 350,000 X's. I know it's crazy. So I won't even mention the dollars, but I break it down to two things. You know, if you've watched me stream, you might have heard me mention this. Is you got to ask yourself, is that possible? Well, I got to admit that. I mean, I guess it's possible. Okay, so let's go with it as possible. Is it probable? Well, that's where I'm not so sure, but it's possible, and that's what gets me excited.
Well, you just end up with an asset that's made you so wealthy that you couldn't sell it all if you wanted to. And it's the same thing in all these assets pretty much, right? Like, you could just have so much SHIB, you can have so much ETH, you know, well you can sell it if you want, but
Yeah.
you end up just being super crypto rich, right?
Yeah. What if
Those numbers go so high?
What if we all ended up like Richard Hart? I have heard from an eyewitness. I've heard from a witness that he told this person, without blushing and without bragging, I couldn't spend all my money in my whole lifetime. What if we all ended up like that, or half of that? You know what I'm saying?
You know, banana. You know what's crazy is the fact that nobody realizes how small this community is in terms of size compared to the rest of crypto, compared to the rest of the world. Like, we are so small, but we think we're big, and we think everyone's hearing about PulseChain and pTGC and UFO all the time because we're in this, like we say it all the time, this silo, this drum that keeps bouncing off all of these X posts and everything back, and we think everyone's seeing it, but they're really not. But once they start seeing it, and we think that's happening, you know, that's starting to happen now with all of this, it's just going to be, it's what we've been dreaming of, waiting for. And can I just say, someone told me once that investing is a game of don't spread yourself too thin, but also diversify. Like, what the hell does that mean? It means go left, but also go right. It's like, what? But I do know that if you hit a banger, as in if you get into an investment that is the golden goose, and you've tried 19 others, but just, or say 45 others, or 49 others, but just that one, that 50th one is the one, then you better hold on to that one because it'll make up for the other 49 plus 100x, and all the others won't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we're at now, and this pTGC and UFO, that is that investment.
Are you saying I'm Morpheus, man, and I found Neo? Is that what you're saying, man?
You know what?
I don't mind being Morpheus.
In X's, in the X world, yeah, maybe. And I feel like I'm living that world more than I am the real world at the moment. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I've exited a lot of tokens that at one time I was very excited about, and they're all sitting in the Grays currencies now. I mean, not all of them, but a lot.
Yeah, man. I used to hold a bunch of P-Dye. I used to hold a bunch of Teddy Bear. All of those have all just sort of just gone by the wayside and disappeared through my hands. But the ones that matter, they're the ones I've held on to for dear life.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how many more people are going to do that as the cycle goes on. I mean, we've seen it. On our last run up, a lot of those buy bots was Hex and a pTGC, PulseX and a pTGC Inc. And it goes on. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I remember seeing that in the Telegram. Yeah, it was nuts. And it's coming.
Yeah, most of that just is our bots fixing pairs. We have to remember.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
unless you know how to watch it, and you know what a human wallet looks like compared to an RBot wallet, most of the time that's just the machine, the utility doing its thing, not actually people selling those assets into that. So you have to kind of keep that on. But one thing I wanted to bring up real quick, Banana, what you were talking about is, you know, hey, if this, or maybe it was Mando, you're saying like if this asset, if PulseChain is successful, if this asset does what we believe it's going to do, you could be sitting on a protocol that, like you said, you can shave off of it technically every single week and do whatever you want and still be good, and so on and so forth, right? Like people who got into Ethereum, people who got into Bitcoin, they pretty much, as long as they held the majority of their bag long enough for it to appreciate, they're doing very well for themselves, and a lot of them are not having to work because the rest of the world wants that asset. They realized it was a large store of value. What's super sweet about pTGC and UFO on top of this is the idea that we're built on an undervalued blockchain, so this price appreciation could come very, very rapidly in a short amount of time. but also the fact that if you have, let's say, a somewhat decent sized position of pTGC, the APY, what the APY is today, could be completely different to what the APY could be in the future, to where you actually might even not need, or a very small amount of your portfolio you might need to, but for the most part, you might be able to completely live off of your APY, to where you never actually even need to touch your initial tokens, and you can let those initial tokens go into cycle after cycle after cycle and actually appreciate. And you're not only helping yourself and protecting yourself, letting that asset actually appreciate multi-cycle, but you're also helping the system as well, because you're pretty much turning those tokens into like a debt address. And since you're acting as this like human debt address for whatever time period, the system pays you for doing so. And it pays you in the very asset that you find so valuable off of value generation. And, you know, I think that's a kind of cool long-term goal for users. I think especially the new users coming in, because I think a lot of existing users in crypto right now are pretty tapped out on like what they're willing to invest in crypto. So they're like, hey, I'm just holding this bag, I'm just going to let it appreciate. But a lot of people, especially new users, are willing to DCA, right? And these new users who are willing to DCA, or even existing users who are willing to DCA, like that's a really good goal of DCAing into a product. This is a goal that a lot of people have in real financial products, like in the real world, is, hey, I'm going to keep DCAing with my business, with my pitch into this product, into this investment, until it sets me financially free, to where I could live off of the dividends or off of the value increasing for the rest of my life, right? Like a standard investment. Like, hey, how much do I need to get into this diversified stock account to where I actually don't need to work anymore and I can just live off of what this pays me? People are going to be able to do this with pTGC, but with most diversified stock accounts, you actually you're living off the price appreciation of the asset. The assets actually aren't paying you more quantities of those shares. So that's one thing that's really unique about pTGC, is you're not only getting the price appreciation of the asset over long periods of time, but it's also paying you for doing so. And if we can get this asset to increase high enough for standard users, like, you know, like a normal person who has a normal amount of money that they've been DCing into it, if we can get that asset high enough to where they never even need to touch their initials, well, now they are pretty much like a locked amount of tokens, especially if they don't plan on selling those, because they rather live off of the passive income of that product. And then they can just let that asset appreciate over time, increasing their wealth inside crypto, which is becoming one of the, you know, premier store of values in the world today. It's getting more and more adoption. We're really pushing in that direction, right? So I do think it's fair to say that a lot of people are going to be storing value on chain, and we have the chance to find one of those premier store of values before the masses do. I do think pTGC and UFO could be one of those, due to the features that we all love, the reason why we're in this space.
Well, it's already been happening. That's why you see people pairing with it all the time instead of PulseChain or alongside of PulseChain. But I remember, Zen, when I came to you that day, and I dude, one of the best things about this cryptocurrency is I can just sit there and just acquire millions and millions and millions of the token without selling any of my principal. And at the same time, even if I chose to sell the APY, I'm still gaining in my percentage of the yield pool. This is absolutely phenomenal. Like the fact that I can just literally, I could sell my APY if I wanted to, and still at the end of the year have a larger percentage of the yield pool after selling my APY all year to live my life and not have to touch my principal. I don't think people understand that, man. I remember the day I came to you and I was like, dude, I just figured this thing out. Am I right on this? You remember that day? And it was like a light bulb went off for me. I was like, holy Moses, man, this is crazy. The fact that that's there and that exists is insane to me.
Yeah, especially if you compare it to a lot of existing products out there, to where if you are mining or earning a percentage of APY, it's working in the opposite fashion. You are earning something off of it, but you're constantly being like depreciated in that sector. You know, if you look at mining Bitcoin, you used to be able to use just a good gaming computer and you would mine tons of Bitcoin, but sooner or later you were no longer able to use those types of computers. You pretty much had to trash them all, to where with pTGC, your tokens themselves are actually your miner, but every single year that goes by, they're guaranteed pretty much to become more valuable and more valuable as far as the mining goes, because there's always going to be less tokens. Very similar to where, you know, if in miners, they came out and they said, hey, this is why these are the only 1 million amount of these machines that can do so. If you decide to give yours to someone else that's on you. And we're also going to be destroying these. We're going to be buying these out every single year at this rate. Think about how valuable those would have came in 12 years. Look how valuable they've become with them being inflationary.
Yeah, and I love the fact that the system at this point and the DAO is just so relentless on, once it hits certain levels, hey, if you don't like it, sell it. Just keep selling it. we'll buy it. Just dump the price, whatever, you know, it's obviously not a thing that you want. You'd rather have people, but the system is it's just buying people out. And so the holders, you know, I was just looking yesterday, and the 50th wallet holder is where 1 billion token ends still. The 51st wallet holder has like 980 million. And then the 100th wallet holder is more like in the 400 million range. The distribution is just getting astronomical, dude. And those are the only tokens that are owned.
Yeah, there's only 3% of the supply even left to purchase. So what's there is what's there. I actually wonder how distributed the supply is going to be after this bull market.
That's
after
my
it runs all the way up and then all the way down, and the system just keeps buying and burning and buying and burning, and we do our strategic plays to get larger amounts of supply off circulation, you know, possibly putting some revenue in stables, waiting for the bottom, buying that back up. It's interesting to see. I think, some of it's dependent on how big this push is, this cycle for Richard. If it's a super incredibly large push like Hex was, if it's, hey, I'm going to make this one a little bit more sustainable to where it's, not as crazy up and not as crazy down. Who knows? I'd say bring on the volatility. That's just going to make, let's go crazy up and a crazy down. That's going to just give pTGC and UFO tons of value. But, who knows what that plan is or what he kind of has projected mentally as his game plan into the future. I would assume he's kind of thought all this stuff out, like how he wants it to go. But where do we end up? It's somewhat dependent on the holders, like you said, in the top 50. Do they see the long-term vision of, hey, I'm not letting go of these tokens. I'm going to let these tokens just be my pTGC miner because I believe this product, 50x from here, can print me enough money for my family to live comfortably off forever. And I do believe blockchain is the new premier store value system in the whole world. I think this is where all value is going. I love the idea of self-custody here. I love that it's deflationary. I love that it's built in APY. I do think this is a great place for a large percentage of my value. Do I think people will diversify and stuff like that? Of course, right? Like Kuhn was saying, it's not a bad thing to diversify, especially when you have a massive winner and you've been able to have delayed gratification and run it up a crazy amount. But I do also think a large portion of people are going to stay. It could be completely wrong. Maybe people think, well, I just hit this huge winner. This did massive X's. I'm going to take this money and go. But then that's where the supply is just going to get way better distributed. And it's just going to get spread out amongst many people. We saw with Hex that when that ran up, the run up of Hex happened, the amount of holders probably increased by 10, 20, 50x. I do believe that's going to be something similar with pTGC and UFO. We could see our community in the next 6 months 10, 20, 50xing, hopefully. And there's not a lot of supply on the market for them. So they're either going to have a very small percentage of supply to even touch that 3%. They have to push the price higher and higher. Or some of our holders are going to take profits and let the new community members have a portion of their position. We'll see.
Yeah, and Zen, just on that as well, I'll just quickly say that I think that if we do have this crazy push up and down, which means we get huge gains on this PulseChain Hex ecosystem, and pTGC and UFO do leverage numbers on that, and then we have a huge retracement, I feel like that the all-time high that pTGC and UFO have hit, I feel like that will be the magnet at the most where we would come back down to retest, which means that the prices we're at today, you're never going to see them again. And the lowest it'll ever go in the future is, multiples from here, this point. So, yeah.
Yeah,
and I've seen it done on other assets.
Every time we've left low levels of PulseChain and we've had significant moves up on PulseChain, we've never came back to those lows. I do think this next move up on PulseChain is going to be massive, and I do not think PulseChain is going to make lower lows after that move up. So I agree with you. I think pTGC and UFO are going to land higher. The prices that we had 3-4 months ago, whenever that was, like Mando said, I think it hit 52 mil market cap. That could have been the lowest prices anyone's ever going to see on pTGC ever.
Yeah, agreed. And we could do crazy numbers to the upside, and we could have a really crazy retracement as well. But it'll all be above where we're at today. So yeah.
Well, even look at Hex, man. Okay, because I remember buying Hex at 4 zeros and a 5. Even after a 99% retracement, it's still way up compared to where it started from.
Yeah, it's a great point.
This is what people don't get about the returns of crypto. When something goes up 10,000x.
And real quick, Mando, that's an inflationary asset too. So just to put that out there.
Yeah, that's an inflationary asset, and that's also an asset that it did get to take into consideration some reflexivity being bonded with ETH, but nothing like the kind of move that you would potentially see from PulseChain. So I'm just saying that when an asset does a 10,000x or like a SHIB 1 point something million x, and then does a 99% retracement, trust me, you don't give a shit. If you round tripped it, yeah, you're like, oh, maybe I should have sold some, but you don't. You're not. You're just fine.
Because we are at inception for PulseChain. It's just come off
yeah.
the floats, which means we're at inception for every token. That's a strong community. That's a proven asset on PulseChain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. Hey, maybe you're going to think back and say hindsight 2020. Maybe I should have sold some. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. Just running the numbers. If you put in $1,000 into something that does a 10,000x, right, and then it retraces back down 99%, you're still like, you killed it still. That's how crazy the numbers are with this stuff.
And you're earning APY that entire time.
But I will say this to piggyback off Zen chiming in there 2 seconds ago. We've never seen, and I'm just being honest, we've never seen something like a pTGC do a move like that and then retrace back down. We've never seen a cryptocurrency with this kind of mechanics built in, decentralized, unchangeable, immutable, unruggable, unchangeable, go through a cycle like that with that kind of revenue generation power. We've just never seen it. I would assume running the math that out of anything else, you would end up with a higher low. I would imagine running the math that compared to things that don't have any of those benefits, don't have any of those incentives, don't have that timing, don't have those mechanics, don't have that revenue generation, that you would end up with a higher low than the things that don't have that. And then imagine the front running. Imagine the front running on a token like that, right? Because let's be honest, what would be the mindset if PulseChain goes on to be amazing? What would be the mindset? The mindset would be, okay, once you have a confirmed bottom on the cores, you're too late in the sense that you should have front ran that shit. So you understand what I'm saying by that? You're going to have a whole slew of people looking to front run that bottom, Zen, is what I'm trying to say.
I think mechanically, PulseChain has proven itself. I think if the demand
without question.
Yeah, and mathematically too. Like you can run the numbers economically, and you know it makes sense. Like I think that's clear as day. Right now, it's just missing the demand. If Richard has something or does something like this marketing campaign, along with some other stuff that actually gets it the demand, the standard demand of a standard blockchain, I would 100% agree. If we get the adoption, the natural adoption, right? Not just pump of green candles, but you can actually see that we're getting real adoption. People are talking about us in mainstream, and you can actually see the mainstream adoption. Mathematically, I see no reason why anyone wouldn't front ran a natural pullback of a bear market. Mathematically, it's stronger than ETH. It's stronger than Bitcoin. I'm not even talking about pTGC and UFO. I'm talking about Richard's tickers, Pulse and PulseX. Everything is in your favor that you want in a financial product. He's improved on what has already been done. I do think pTGC and UFO fall under the same boat. There's going to be a push up. There will be this natural pull down, just like anything in a bear market. But we will have 10 to 20 to 50 the amount of eyeballs on us waiting for that pullback. People who had bought the top and are waiting to DC in at lower levels, especially with a protocol that possibly could be sitting on a lot of stable coins, and they know that's a reserve to pretty much set a floor at the bottom to restart the push for the next market cycle, knowing that to make a real cryptocurrency, a true store of value, being a multi-cycle system is a necessity. And that's obviously part of the plan for pTGC and UFO. We didn't do all this for just one cycle. You know, we didn't make it fully decentralized, automated, burn the LP just for a couple of years. The goal is for this to last as long as blockchain lasts.
Let's be real, dude. PulseChain ain't going nowhere, bro. Let's be real.
Vitalik talks about how Ethereum is supposed to last longer than Vitalik. So that means PulseChain is supposed to last longer than Vitalik.
And Zen and Mando, with the fact that Hex on the last cycle ran up those numbers and got those investors in and people in to purchase it on the back of majority of crypto talking about the founder being a complete scammer. But now we're in a situation where that is proving everyone wrong. He's won the SEC. All of that is now going to shift in this next push up and in the next cycle and bear market and everything else. You're not going to see everyone steering away from it because it's a scam. You're actually going to see the shift move the other direction. So you'll probably even get more investors coming into it.
Yeah, if he does it again, Kuhn, I don't think anyone can call him a scammer.
It's already starting. Zen. I can
If
see- I'm
he
seeing
does it
posts
again,
out there.
there's still the people saying like, "Oh, he just did that to lure people in." If he does it again, you cannot say that.
No, you can't even say it now. To tell you the truth, I'm saying
1,000%, Coon. If Richard, if Hex, dude, if Hex starts to take off and goes up to 20, 30 cents, bro, the whole industry is going to be like, holy shit.
Yeah, exactly, Mando. And you know what the crazy thing is? That we, the people in this space, are the early investors into the most decentralized blockchain possible. And you're in a sub-community that is, I personally think, the strongest I've ever seen in crypto and in the real world. What else do you say?
That's without a doubt. That's undisputed, man.
Yeah, that's why I think pTGC as a store of value, this is its home. This is where it was meant to exist.
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't matter how decentralized the token is on top of the blockchain if the blockchain's screwed up. You're only as strong as the foundation you're built on.
And we all did take a risk. We went as contrarian as possible in terms of investing in the crypto space, which is a contrarian type of investing to start off with. But it's all started to play out, and you have taken the biggest leap possible to get the most upside possible for your investment, and also joined with an amazing community that drives all of that. And it's starting to, you're starting to see the pathway for, the clouds dissipating and seeing blue skies. So it's
And you want to know where
it's
I'm at?
great
Coon?
to be on this journey.
I'm gonna tell you where I'm at. I'm at the point now. I'm at the point now where until PulseChain does that kind of a move, I don't even give a shit about the other coins. I'm just sitting in my course. I'm sitting in pTGC and UFO. I have just a couple beams I own. And guess what? Y'all cut yourselves up, kill yourselves, PvP, do yourself in all damn day. I'm chilling, sipping pina coladas until I see PulseChain start to make its run, because there's literally nothing left to do but either get ripped off, scammed, freaking lose your money to some ghetto funk yield scam program, or just watch some guys launch cabal pump.tire shit. I'm
Mando, it happens.
I'm good.
It happens to the best of us, because I took 1% of my portfolio and it just flipped through my fingers. It was insane how quickly you lose it. So yeah.
And when you've got something like this, when you can be buying this at this moment in time, compared to just, I'm not hating on anybody's thing. God is my witness. I'm just not. But it's at the point where you have to really think, like, where do I want my economic energy right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, what deserves the money right now? I can always jump into those beams later or whatever the hell they are,
Yeah. And I always saw Mando, PulseChain being the diamond in the rough, the one that nobody's talking about, that not many of the entire crypto space really give you that led to the golden goose within the diamond in the rough, which is amazing that, we're in this position. So, and I know for a fact, and I won't call names out or anything else, but I know for a fact that there are some very large investors. Their mind frame was they need to sell everything at the end of this bull market, and they want to try and rebuy at the bottom of the bear. And their mindsets have shifted significantly. Just going to say that.
Yeah, man, that's good shit.
Hey guys, I do want to kind of do a last call because we've been going for 2 hours, 10 minutes now. I want to get back to the family here soon. So anyone off. But definitely, if you guys have anything else to finish with, let's hit that stuff, and then I'm going to shut it down if that's cool.
There's nothing on YouTube.
I just think right now, guys, is the time. If you're on PulseChain, it's the time to, you know, really bat down the hatches and know why you're here.
Yeah, man.
Bernardo, I wouldn't mind just
Well, thanks
hitting you
for-
up just after this, just quickly, or seeing if we can maybe start organising a pTGC UFO community meetup or something like that. I think that would be something that would be great if we can start talking about it over the next quarter,
That's a good idea.
which would be cool.
I'll
You
try.
talk about in real life, in real life.
Yeah, or in real life, it'd be fantastic. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yep.
Mando, but yeah,
We're gonna have to get. I'm gonna have to buy Zen a diamond mask, bro. Like Shinobi.
No, we'll just get one of those, you know, the plastic glasses with a mustache. You know, Zen, how would that work for you, man? It's just
He's
razzing
like,
you, man.
nah.
You
He's
know.
like, nah, dude. We'll have to check you on the flip side.
I think Coon's offering it at his pub that he says he owns.
Oh, you got a pub? You got a pub, Coon?
yeah. Well, you know, if you all want to come down under, I mean, it's a bit of a hike, but I'm absolutely, it's on the table as an offering. But yeah, no, just food for thought for the next couple of discussions.
Cool, guys. Well, thanks.
I think that's about it, Zen. Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, Mando, thanks for coming in. Banana, thanks for coming in. Coon, thanks for coming in as well. I appreciate you guys having the conversation with me.
Absolutely.
I do want to put it out there before we split up. I am taking personal phone calls this week through X for anybody that just wants to have a conversation about PulseChain, pTGC, UFO. It's just always a fun thing. If you've got questions, if you want to make comments, if you want to talk, whatever. It's just, I just feel like it's just kind of that time to allow the community to talk to people that have been here, that are trusted, know what they're talking about, as opposed to, you know, people that really you don't know who the hell they are. So it's not a sales pitch, but I'm here to take questions, field your questions, and I do it in a way that is verifiably legitimate. And so feel free to hit me up in the DMs. Would love to have a conversation with anybody who's interested in PulseChain, the ecosystem, or the Grace Currency. At the Cryptomando. At the Cryptomando.
All right, all good. And thank you, Zen, also for being here. It means a lot.
Yeah, no problem. See you guys.
All right, see ya. All right, guys. It's time to go. G-O-O. Go. All right, guys. Not that there's anyone here, but have a good night, man. We'll see you around the blockchain. Adios.